we go.
Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. This is May 28th, and we're bringing you this new episode of Between Two Teachers. And my name is Consuelo Lara.
And I'm Madeline Cronenberg. And as always, we're joining you from the sacred land of the Chochenyo Karkin Ohlone people. Just switch this, see if this works. And we pause to acknowledge that we have gathered on the ancestral territory of Huichin, part of the unceded land of the Chochenyo Karkin and Karkin speaking Muwekma Ohlone people. We remember their continued connection to this region and give thanks to them for allowing us to live, work, learn, and pray on their traditional homeland. We offer our respect to their elders and all Ohlone people of the past and present.
Great. And that reminds me about the Crespi 8th graders who might decide to change the name of that school to
Chochenyo is in the running.
I know.
It's either Chochenyo or Betty Reed Soskin. So we will see. We will see.
All right.
So this week, I wanted to talk about a couple of things. The one thing that was interesting to me that's happening locally, let's see if I can find another background here, is, I even got it, maybe not. Yes. There's a big effort to, there are still people who are very disappointed in how schools reopened. And some of those people are with us in Contra Costa County, and they're mounting a recall effort against all of the members of the Mount Diablo School Board. And that is really happening. They are collecting their signatures, and it looks like they're going to get that on the ballot.
Oh.
And it just shows that the amount of energy that people have put into this, it's been a huge problem for many, many people, and people are reacting in a lot of different ways. And this is definitely one. The other thing that's happened locally that is similar to this is the parents in Fremont have gone ahead with their lawsuit. But their lawsuit is not to do a recall. Their lawsuit is to open schools. But it is now May 28th. I mean, this is, there isn't much left to do. The only thing they can do, and I think that the board in Fremont has said that they're going to reopen it after the summer. So it just shows it's coming out of anger.
Yeah.
That's where our reopening stories really are.
Yeah.
And we've gone through a difficult year, and people are truly struggling. And
it always makes me wonder, if you follow the money, where are the efforts coming from exactly? And they tend to be very anti-public school individuals when you get down to it. So
they are, although some of these are really people who wanted to stay in the public schools and can't believe the schools didn't open. I mean, this is, especially for the districts where the district next to me is open and my district's not open. That, I think, has created a lot of confusion for people.
Yeah. And
so, at the end of this year, we all have to figure out ways to get past it, to see what we have learned from the year, and how we can move forward. And hopefully, we're going to get there, and everyone is going to be able to move forward.
Yeah.
The other big thing that's happening this week that is actually in the education world, and we're not hearing that much about unless you're in a particular line of information, is, I'll put it here, is this. AB 1316. And now this is just one of many online sites and ads that are discussing AB 1316. And this one, I believe, is I got from a an organization that is really run by the California Charter School Association. And there's the ad. It said, we must defeat AB 1316. And let me just tell you what AB 1316 does. It is a response to a scandal that happened, and multiple scandals, but one big scandal in the charter school world that happened in the San Diego area that resulted in somebody defrauding the state of California of $50 million. $50 million, taxpayer dollars that were meant for educating children. And the basis of this, the way they did this, is through running a virtual and online charter school and using every loophole in the laws in order to, and just simply driving a truck through those loopholes and taking money out of them. And the loopholes were there. So this is what this bill does. It creates new auditing and accounting standards to create parity between school districts and charter schools. And it requires training for auditors and creates an Office of Inspector General in the Department of Education. So what does that mean? They're going to have, right now, they are able, this company that did this had to do an audit. They did their audit. And when they didn't like it, they could just hire another auditor.
Oh, geez.
This is what they did. And they also could pick the documents they give to the auditor. So if this is the ultimate in cooking the books, if there ever was a way to cook the books, this is the way you cook the books, right? You just run, you give them a piece of paper, everything adds up. Piece of paper is not true, but everything added up.
Yeah.
So now they're saying, no, they have to have the same level of auditing as the district schools have. And that there's going to be an Office of Inspector General in the Department of Education to oversee all of the audits. I would think that the charter school industry would applaud that, because it's going to take away this cloud over them. And it will allow everybody to have faith in their audits in their business. But no, they're not happy with it. It creates a new funding determination process for non-classroom based charter schools, so online schools, that would reduce the amount of funds they receive from the state. Now, they receive the same amount of dollars as if they were running a building, but they don't have a building. They don't have transportation. There's this whole set of expenses that they don't have. And up until now, they've had the same funding.
Yep. So where does all that money go? My.
Well, they are upset that they're not going to be able to still have it. Now, the other thing, it rewrites the independent study law in California, and it requires more teacher and student contact, a minimum school day, and metrics for ending independent study agreements. So all it does is that right now there is none of that.
I mean, those are simple things. I mean, yeah,
Simple things. And if you don't have those metrics, and if you don't say you have to have a certain number, well, maybe it's 10 minutes a week. Maybe we're just going to say, well, you're on the honor system. What this is simply doing is putting in a system. Then there's this one. And there's this one. It changes vendor contracts by requiring vendor personnel to hold the appropriate credentials. So now you have to have credentialed teachers. And enforces competitive bidding. You can't give it to your brother-in-law. You actually have to have a bidding process. And finally, it prohibits agreements from being calculated as a percentage of charter school revenue.
Wow.
That is the giant one,
That's
because up until now, there's been no prohibition against that.
Nope.
And the consequence of no prohibition is right here.
Yep.
That you can have a school like Summit where they simply charge, they have a fee that's a percentage of the revenue of the school. And it's this, I don't know what this one is. This one's 12%, 14%, goes up to 17% off the top.
Yeah, this one is 14.5%. It comes to 858, almost $59,000. So almost $1 million.
For the children in that one school
Yeah.
for that year.
Revenue means ADA, taxpayer ADA money. That's what they're getting, 14%, almost 15%, to do with as they like.
And that is sort of not shared out so clearly with the families who are working hard to try to stop this. But
Yeah.
that is from what I can see, clearly the biggest thing. Now, these folks you can still have a charter management organization. They didn't say you can't, but what they said was they have to submit a bill to show what they did for their $840,000.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
have to submit a time. How much time did you spend? What did you buy? What were you doing
Yeah.
for that? You can't just take your percentage off the top.
Yeah.
And that's going to change the revenue that these companies receive.
Yeah.
It also prohibits the use of multi-year track systems, because that was a system of having people be able to join the school at any point, to start your school year at any point. And that was incredibly abused by these folks who were breaking the law. But the truth was they weren't breaking the law. They were using the law.
Yep. Because it's set up
Because
that way. Yeah, it's set up in that way.
there was nothing prohibiting them. This was the one. It limits the ability of small school districts to authorize additional charter schools. Small school districts, like with less than 2,000 children,
Oh,
there was no limitation on what they could do. There was nowhere did it say they couldn't. So there were a few who decided that this was a moneymaker for them. It was a cash cow.
yeah.
And so you had a district office and that charter schools that have 5 times, 10 times as many students in those online charter schools as that district had itself in person.
Jeez. My goodness. Yeah.
I mean, it was a cash cow, and there were also kickbacks involved. And so now this is just saying, no, you can't do that.
No.
No, this is
right. All these entitlements, loopholes, these privileges, these freedoms, it leaves it open for all this fraud and, illegal activity. You can't have that. If you don't have the regulations, you're just leaving it open for all this to happen. And so
no.
you can't. Yeah.
And the final one is that it increases oversight fees that charter schools pay to their authorizer. And it's going to go from 1% up to 3%, so that they pay for the people in the charter oversight office, either at the district or at the county. And it doesn't come out of the payments that are for the children who are in the district schools. I mean, that's a fair thing. So here is their statement. These statutory changes would be devastating to charter schools.
To the administrators,
to the CMOs, to the charter management
the
organizations,
management guys. Yeah.
but not to the charter school families. This doesn't hurt. This means the charter school families will know that the money that their school gets is being audited and spent in the right place, that their teachers are credentialed, that the vendors have had to compete. So here it is. And the financial impact would be incredibly harmful, they say. We ask everyone to call or email the members of the Assembly Education Committee and state their opposition. And then they give the contact.
Wow. Well, we have to do the same, only with different opinion.
We have to support
Yes.
Mr. O'Donnell and everybody who is behind AB 1316. So let's see if I've got.
Oh, Mr. McDowell.
Mr. O'Donnell has done his work. And what the thing about this is it comes out of Where did I put it? I'll just stay there. It comes out of 1505 when we
Yes.
passed that, because during the last 2 years, there has been a moratorium on charter schools. So now they're going to allow online charter schools to exist.
Right.
And as long as they do the petitions and they can open, but they're going to have to follow these rules.
Yes.
This is going to be the new, when this is passed, this will be the new law. Anybody who votes against this is voting against having an honorable system, a set of laws that allows, that sets up a criteria for them to operate fairly and legally.
Accountability and transparency.
There it is.
That's it. That's
Right.
what and supposedly that's what they want, but
Right, and this outrageous percentage for the charter management companies.
Yeah.
Is the thing that sort of is buried deep inside and everything. But that is an unbelievable amount of money that has been the ultimate cash cow to these guys who have gone into this business. That's where the business is.
yeah,
And that's why they're spending, I believe, all of this money trying to organize people against it.
absolutely. Because the higher ups and the CMOs, the higher ups are getting a lot of money that they put in their pockets.
This school right here,
Yeah,
Summit Public Schools,
millions.
has the highest paid education employee in the state of California, right? Their CEO makes $500,000 a year
Half a
for
million.
10 schools.
Yep, yep.
And where does she get that money? Right here.
The CMO, yeah, right, yeah, exactly.
That's where it is.
And that's what they don't want anybody to know about. That's the big secret. So,
That's the big secret. So, but it's not a secret now. Clearly they're out there. They are all active. They are totally active. And so unless you're in the charter world, you're not
You don't know.
necessarily paying attention. But I will say so far it's the fact is that this is looked at as a reform bill, right? Which is what it is. It's reforming the charter law.
it is.
And it's making up for these holes. And this was written completely in response to what these bad actors did,
Yes, yes.
right? And it's not hurting anybody. I mean, the fact is it never made sense for you to get the same amount of money for an online student as you would get. I mean, I think we all know this now. If you're not running a building,
Yeah,
you have no transportation costs and no facility costs.
yeah.
Why would you get the same amount of money?
Very good, very good.
So that's the story this week. It's the story of write to your legislators and support 1316.
And we will bring more and more information about that.
Yes, we will. We will.
Absolutely.
Okay, and so now you want to give your shout out.
Yeah, definitely want to give a shout out to my colleague, Trustee Butler, Sarah Butler on Contra Costa County Board of Education. Her and I serve on this committee, speaking of charter schools, favorite subject, the charter school committee, the charter committee, yeah, charter school committee. We have been looking at our policies right now, and we were kind of at odds about how it should look, and should we have them smaller or have 5 different policies, because there's different areas. And we decided in the committee that we really did want the details, we want the ed code references, and we did want, so that when you look it up, you know exactly what it is that you need to do as oversight, because we are oversight over these schools that were denied at the district level and then got approved at the county office. So it's our job.
You also have a dependent charter school
And
too,
we
right?
have dependent ones as well, yeah. So because we also have the court schools, we have the community schools that serve our most vulnerable, actually, our most vulnerable students in the county. So, and it was just, it was a great meeting. We came to consensus with the staff and the board members, we all want the same thing. We want a consistent, fair, and clear oversight policy in place. And I think we've got that. We're going to tweak it a little bit, but we're going to bring that to the board, I believe, next Wednesday. And it was interesting to me that the charter industry seems to think, at least at the county, that somehow we're partners in this process. Whereas, I mean, I feel like I'm partners with the other electeds, I'm partners with the staff, but I'm providing oversight with to these individuals, like evaluation, like make sure, like we said, all the things that can go wrong. You want to keep an eye on these things and make sure everything is being done on the up and up and you're doing things fairly. So I don't consider that a partnership. And I also don't consider these schools to be integral. That's a word that was somewhere in those policies that I think has to be changed, because integral means necessary or essential. And they're more like supplemental. They're not, they're supposed to be in addition to, and they're supposed to be high and above, innovation and bringing to us models of how, with all of these freedoms.
And supportive.
And but it seems like it's the other way around.
Yeah.
And the CCSA member was there and trying to, manipulate or give us some suggestions about what the policy should look like. But anyway, we came up with the policy that we were happy with. And I was really glad that we got that. So now we're in the process of visiting schools, and we are going to look at the renewal process and giving schools. There's 4 schools out of 8, 4 of them that they did this chart, they did visitations, and they asked the schools to tell what their own challenges were in what they want to improve. Half of them, 50% of them, said they needed to improve their English learner program. Most of the kids they have are English learners, many of them, and they're not succeeding. I find that disturbing, and so I have asked you to visit. I want to visit those 4 schools. Give me an hour. I want to observe 1 classroom, and I want to talk to 1 ELD teacher. That's all. I'm not going to write it up. I just want to find out what's going on in there to add to my own information as I provide oversight, because you're supposed to be doing better than the public school in these.
You have every reason and access to resources to be able to do better.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to look at that. And one of the things, I'd love to do one of those unannounced visits, but apparently that would just freak them out. So I don't know if that'll be, if I'll be able to do that. But so we're moving forward on this, and I'm really happy to have a partner such as Trustee Butler. She's amazing. Shout out to you. Thank you for all the work that you do. So
congratulations, Trustee Butler.
Yes.
I'm going to add somebody to the list. I'm going to add our friends in Sacramento, and I guess it's really Mr. Newsom, Governor Newsom, because these are the expanded. This is what is in the May revise in the budget for teachers. Right, we have these grants that everybody needs to take advantage of in AB 86. There's their expanded learning grants. There's $1 billion and $1 billion annually to expand after school services and before school programs and summer learning. There's $2.6 billion in one-time funding to accelerate learning for high dose tutoring. Tutoring is really what needs to happen. We need to look at where our children are behind and then tutor them, give them the kind of one-on-one support that they really have earned and need. And then the last one is, does that include that? There is also a money that goes specifically to the districts that have the highest concentration of children who need the help. And besides that, the other thing that is out there is additional supports for teachers. And the supports for teachers and for just growing education are additional money to do recruitment, and additional money to do teacher residencies, additional money for all sorts of programs that are designed to support teachers in California. So I have a shout out to all of them for putting that in. And now we all just need to use it. Right?
Yeah.
We need to put in the residencies. We need to run the programs for creating the pipelines. We certainly have talked about it before and worked on it, but there is money for it now.
And this is like one-time money for this time. I like that term, high dose tutoring. That's a good, and I hope this support includes social emotional support.
Yes.
That's the big one. The trauma-informed care, that needs to be doubled and tripled, including teachers, including our families, you know. I
Right.
mean,
Including administrators. I mean, including everyone.
everybody.
It's not like anybody's coming in here and not being affected. Right?
Exactly.
I mean, you look at, you know, the unbelievable tragedy that happened in San Jose this week, where there was a shooting and multiple people died at a workforce.
Yes.
They have shut down that transit authority
Oh, God.
because they recognize the trauma.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They shut it down. It's not operating. And they're not saying when it's going to start.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? That's the kind of response we have to realize. Everybody's impacted. And this year, everybody has been impacted by what's happened. And we need to have that kind of a level of response before you have that level of tragedy. Right? I mean, that's the SEL kind of stuff. So,
absolutely.
all right, we'll end on that note, and we will keep you up to date on the new number to remember is 1316. We want to support 1316. And thank you, Mr. O'Donnell, and all of the other people who were the co-sponsors of 1316. It will make everybody in California education better.
Yeah. So we'll post this everywhere.
Everywhere. So the 1316 people will know which side we're on. Be clear on which side you're on 1316. We need it. We need it. All right.
Okay.
That's
All right.
it.
Okay. Talk to you later. Next time.